Good afternoon. Welcome to Legal Learning. I'm Geraldine DiBianchi, along with my colleague, Joanne Gallipalt with Coast to Coast Legal Aid. Today, we will discuss the Mobile Justice Squad, where we go and what we do. Joanne and I are both staff attorneys in the Senior Law Unit, and I am also the Mobile Justice Squad attorney. So today, I will give you a glimpse into the actual workings of the Mobile Justice Squad, while Joanne will focus on an important area of law that seniors face regularly, credit card debt. Let's begin with the Mobile Justice Squad. Who do we service? We provide free legal services to seniors 60 and older who are residents of Broward County, who are either homebound or face challenges with transportation. Where do we go? We service all of Broward County. As long as the senior is a resident of Broward County, Mobile Justice Squad services are available to them. What do we do? Broadly speaking, the Mobile Justice Squad provides services in the following areas: housing, consumer, public benefits, naturalization, abuse and exploitation, and assistance to caregivers. What is the Mobile Justice Squad? The Mobile Justice Squad is a fully equipped law office on wheels. We bring the law office directly to the seniors who are homebound or face challenges with transportation. The van itself is a fully functioning office on wheels with power, Wi-Fi via hotspot, a printer, scanner, copier, computer, and all that is needed to service our clients from intake to signing of documents, notarizations, court filings, mailings, and the like. What safety measures have been taken for seniors since the COVID-19 pandemic? The van is outfitted to avoid contact between the seniors and the attorney in order to stay within CDC guidelines. The side of the van where the attorney speaks with the senior has a full plexiglass shield and banker's drawer to keep the seniors and the attorney safe and to avoid contact. Please stay tuned for future Facebook Lives to catch a glimpse of the inside of the van. I'm looking forward to seeing you on the road. And now I turn the mic over to my colleague, Joanne Gallipalt, who will speak to you about credit card debt. Thank you and stay well. Joanne.
Hi, good morning. My name's attorney Joanne Gallipalt. Thanks for passing it over, Geraldine, and inviting me to come to this Facebook Live with you today. I just want to take a few minutes to discuss with our viewers the issue of credit card debt and what might occur if you're not able to make your credit card payments when they become due. This is an issue that seems to be affecting a lot of people, especially with the COVID pandemic looming, and a lot of people are struggling to make ends meet. So I wanted to just take a minute to address this issue. First, you might want to know what you need to expect if you can't make your credit card payment online. The very first thing I would recommend doing is to reach out to your credit card company, let them know that you're having a hardship, and tell them that you're just not able to meet your monthly payment. You know, many times these credit card companies will work with their clients to get them into some kind of an affordable repayment plan for what you owe. And if you can't make that payment or any payment, you actually do have an option to just not pay on the credit card. But with a caveat, you should know that you may be, served with a lawsuit because now you owe money that you haven't been able to pay. And that's something that you need to consider. So that's what we're going to talk about a little bit today. A question I get asked really frequently is, will I be arrested if I can't make my credit card payments or if I'm not paying on debts that I owe? You cannot be arrested if you cannot pay your debt in this fashion. You may be getting phone calls from debt collectors threatening to have you arrested if you're not making your payments, but that just simply won't occur. What will happen is that there will be most likely a lawsuit initiated against you, but you're going to have an opportunity to come into court and either get an attorney to represent you or in any regard, just to be involved in that litigation. It's not going to take you completely by surprise. So I'm going to go through some questions I get asked really frequently. I think these might be helpful to whoever's watching. The next question, if I stop making my payments, does this automatically mean that a credit card company can garnish my wages or my bank account? And the answer to that question is no. Credit card litigation really is a two-step process. The first step in that process is that a complaint would be filed by the credit card company and against you. You'll have a process server who's going to come to your house, give you copies of the filings that the company filed against you, and then you have an opportunity to respond. Sometimes that's in writing, or sometimes you're required to go to a hearing. But the point is that you will have an opportunity to come into court and address this issue before you get to a place where now you're dealing with the garnishment. Garnishment is really the second step in debt collection cases. The first thing the creditor would have to do is convince the judge with evidence that you owe the money that they say you owe. And if the judge finds that you do, a final judgment might be entered against you, and probably would be if you're not litigating the case. So what is a final judgment? A final judgment is a piece of paper that's signed by a judge that states you owe a certain amount of money to somebody. It's recorded in the public records. It accrues interest at a statutory rate. Right now, that rate in Florida is 4.75%, but it changes several times a year usually. The judgment can last about 20 years or more if it's renewed, and it affects your credit. So if you know you need to make a large purchase that you intend to finance, that's something to consider and possibly discuss with an attorney. A judgment can also act as a lien against your property. So if you own real property, if you own a house or a condo, a creditor can attach a lien to that house or condo. And the distinction is they cannot use that lien to file a foreclosure action against you and make you leave the house. But if you ever sell the house, the creditor gets paid from the proceeds of the sale before you get money from the sale. So that's something to be aware of if you own property. All right, so what will happen to me if a final judgment is entered? Well, we talked about the fact that it'll be recorded, it'll affect your credit, the amount that you owe will likely increase because interest will accrue. And then you kind of get into the second portion of credit card collection law, which is that the creditor can try to collect what you owe them against you. Two most common ways of doing that would be a wage garnishment and a bank garnishment. Will I know if I'm about to be garnished? That's a question I get frequently, and the answer is unfortunately not. You will not have advance notice that a percentage of your wages or the funds in your bank account are going to be frozen. You won't have advance notice of that, but you will get notice of it after the fact. And that's because the law is written to protect creditors. And I think we all can agree that if we had advance notice that funds in our bank account were about to be frozen next week, we would all rush to the bank, pull out all our cash, and we would avoid that whole situation. I mean, who would allow that to happen voluntarily? So what occurs is that the bank the credit card company that holds the judgment against you will ask the judge to sign an order for your employer or your lending institution and ask them to freeze the money in your account or to freeze a portion of your wages. And then after that money is frozen, then you get notice and you have an opportunity to come into court and you can argue whether or not you think those funds should be exempt from the garnishment. You should also know that just because your funds are frozen, that doesn't mean that they've been given directly to the bank that you owe money to, not to the credit card company. I mean, they're just being held by either your employer or the lending institution where you have your bank account. And your employer and that lending institution are waiting from an order from the court telling them what to do with that money. So just because your money is frozen doesn't mean it's automatically going to be given directly to the credit card company. You can always call, there are certain funds that are exempt from garnishment. And that's, really, if this happens to you, you should reach out to Coast Legal Aid or to a private attorney and find out what rights you have to come into court and contest this garnishment action. So what kind of funds are exempt from garnishment? There are a lot of different categories, but some of the more common ones are Social Security funds, disability, workers' compensation, unemployment. As long as those funds haven't lost their protected status, they're exempt from garnishment. And again, this can get a little bit technical and complicated, so always check with an attorney. If your wages are being garnished and you can prove that you're the head of household, then your funds there might also be protected. And sometimes you just don't make enough money to have a garnishable wage. Your income just isn't enough to be garnished. But for all these issues, check with an attorney, call Coast to Coast Legal Aid, and allow us to advise you and assist you. And that's really the bottom line. Always check with an attorney if a lawsuit's filed against you. Coast to Coast Legal Aid has attorneys that deal with these situations on a daily basis, and we're here to assist you. You can contact us at 954-736-2450 or 954-736-2496, or apply for services directly online at coasttocoastlegalaid.org. Thank you for watching, and tune in Thursdays at noon for more legal learning. Join us next week for a discussion on parenting plans by our family law unit. And please like and follow us on Facebook and YouTube at Coast to Coast Legal Aid.
Thank you so much.